Pick up another you call in the parking lot to sign. Are you with me? When I stand with the roof gone, I pull up like Jimmy Neutron. Looking like you get a new fun. Like you haul and I know you need to go slow, but we could go faster. Maybe the best.
Hey, hold on. I might have to come out and come back in. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm late. Okay, y'all. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. Listen, I'm sorry I am late, okay? But y'all ain't gotta sit here and, and come back. I was on Neat Live and I will be live 12:30 to talk about to hold on, y'all. I'll do that later. To talk about the update with the video with Tyrone Davis Jr. How things is a lot of different. I've been saying that it's similar to the Romika because it's a lot of information coming out that's different. And you know, she got a great live over there, y'all. She got a great live. Shout out to her. Okay, so y'all gotta go look at Nick at Night, okay? Good commentary. I thought I put my pictures. I didn't. It's okay. So we're here to talk about two things that I said I wanted to talk about yesterday, and one that I wanted to talk about yesterday and one I want to talk about today. So we're here to talk about Patrice Lumumba, who was a Congolese politician and an independent leader. He was the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay. He was assassinated in 1961, January 17th. I'm not going to play the video that Amanda Seals have. You can go watch it. It's very, very detailed. But what I'm going to do is give y'all a little bit, and then we're going to play with Instagram and TikTok, and then we're going to jump into what is the anniversary of the new crossfire in New England that happened in 1981, where it was 13 Black people unalive during that fire. And they had took London to the streets for justice for them. I wanted to do this with Lumumba because I want y'all to understand. I know we've been talking a lot about Nigeria and Africa and how Africa and Nigeria, Nigeria in certain places of the world are not protecting, like Burkina Faso and other countries, well, cities in Africa, that saying, hey, we're not are doing what Lumbamba did. I did a documentary. I'm gonna talk about the one of my grandfather. I'm gonna do a recap with y'all. My grandfather was an emperor because that's the same thing that happened in Ethiopia as well. And if you look at how things are going and how Africa as a whole need to pay attention, because I'm seeing a lot of Nigerians agreeing with certain things and not paying attention to all around of how things were when it came down to a lot of these leaders. And for February, if you want me to talk about a lot of these African leaders, or before February, I will, about how this is now a repeat if you pay attention. Patrice was he became he had a Congolese national movement, and he had it from 1958 to 1961. He was born July 2nd in 1925, and he had three brothers. He was interested in the alignment ideal of Jean Quais Rossaro. I hope I say his name right. and Voltaire, and he was also fond of Molière and Victor Hugo. He wrote poetry. He had goals, and then he became a leader of the EMC party in 1958. Um, he's done a lot of things. I'm finna play some of the stuff that Instagram have that I saw. The legacy he leaves behind is very great. And if you go to Congo, you can see a statue of him. But within weeks of his demise, beginning in 1961, and for several years after, biographies of him were published. More was highly noticed of him. Several early works on the Congo crisis, and Congo is still in some crisis right now today. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play some stuff. This is stuff they don't want y'all to have in these books, and it's crazy because I feel like children need to know for real. Let me go. They posted a lot. And before we get into that, Trump has now, and this is why I'm gonna play it, but you know, let me play that first, and then we're gonna get how Trump has stepped into African affairs. He's really stepping into African affairs. Let me put a pause. Let me share my screen so y'all can hear and see. I don't know if I could play the music. But on this day in 1961, the US, UK, and Belgium assassinated Patrice Lumumba, the first Democrat elected leader of the Republic of Congo, because he sought to restore national control over the country's mineral reserves. Okay. After he was, y'all can read the rest. I'm gonna leave that here for y'all to read that part in the white. But that is what they did to him. And the only part of him is his teeth. Now, look what we have. Trump has stepped into African affairs, positioning the U.S. as a mediator. I don't know why, over Ethiopia's Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, in the largest hydroelectric project in Africa. Egypt and Sudan have welcomed U.S. involvement, while Ethiopia insists this is a sovereign African project that should be handled through African League. I agree, not eternal powers. In 2011, Ethiopia began building the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile in the northeastern Ethiopia, near the Sudanese border. It creates one of Africa's largest reservoirs, and is meant to dramatically boost Ethiopia's electric generation. Egypt relies mostly entire on the Nile for fresh water, which it does, because in Egypt, thank you, Mika, because in Egypt, if y'all pay attention, this is going to mess up Egypt funding of electricity, water, all that stuff, right? From what I heard, I think this was a couple of years back in Egypt, this woman say her light bill is only $50. So imagine you getting the US and everybody into it, and now the lights and stuff finna go up. People are moving to Africa to get away from a falling economy and the torture of the orange man. But the fact is, y'all sitting here inviting this man, and now he want, I don't know how to stress this enough. And for the Egypt leader to do this, when we have seen Egyptian, Africans, black Africans, sit here and fought for this not to happen. Oh, Lord Jesus. What happened to the Pharisees? What happened to the Pharaohs? No shade. this is what they were really fighting for. Besides sending the people to be slaves, this is what they were fighting for as well. To keep Africa, Africa. I remember listening to somebody and they said if Africa understand how good they are together, they would never let this happen. If Africa worked together, they don't need a middleman. Oh, Egypt relied mostly on entirely on the Nile for fresh water and fears the dam could reduce water flow, hurt agriculture, and threaten its water security. Cairo is called for a legally binding agreement on how the dam is filled with operations. But why y'all gotta have him and then y'all can't have this conversation? That man don't know a goddamn thing about Africa. Sudan has mixed interests. It could benefit from the regulated water flow and reduce floods, but worries about safety, sudden release, and impacts on its dams. Khartoum has also wants clear rules and protection. I feel like this is a switch of leaders, and I feel like the U.S. don't need to be involved because U.S. have their own problems. And if they haven't been paying attention to what he is doing to the U.S. and how he's doing the U.S. people, you shouldn't even work with him. But then again, I was told pay attention to the leaders of these countries. Hey, happy Sunday. Because let's be clear. The man just talked about civil rights. Black people. He's finna have y'all flooded, and y'all got to figure out, like Mexico, what to do with your people that's going to come back to your country. Africa about to be over. I see it. Africa been be flooded with people. Conversation on what? Not understanding. I wouldn't talk to him for a nickel and a dime. I feel like this is a situation they need to do. In January 2026, Donald Trump offered to restart U.S.-led mediation to try and settle the dispute. Ain't got nothing to do with him. After earlier talks collapsed around, and he just talked, and matter of fact, he talked cash junk about Africa. What do y'all need a conversation for? Oh, Lord. Shout out to Faso. Not Nigeria, but is it Nigeria? Something like that. One of them countries. Shout out. I don't know which one I follow. That's an African general that is part of Africa. I forgot what city in Africa. But he was like, y'all welcome to come home. Shout out to them. Shout out to Ghana. Ghana say no. Musa would never. Not Cleopatra. Nefertiti would never. Took would never. I'm not understanding, and it's no shade. And I love, but I'm like the people. What's going on? Like, really? Sheba would never. Never. Sheba ancestors. Who the hell? Hold on. Would never. The hell? Hold on, y'all. What am I knocking on my door? Listen, I've been on 10. Excuse me. I'm back. That's my dishwasher. Ever since I heard them folks here, the slippery slope people, I've been on 10 about hearing a knock. That's how I'm not terrified. How can I say it? My body is like, oh, tense, because like, what the hell are you? Let me tell you something. After this is over with this regime or whatever they finna do, everybody need a therapist because this is too much. For real. They need a therapist. Egypt and Sudan publicly welcomed the proposal. Ethiopia has not formally agreed yet. Exactly, Ethiopia. Ethiopia is basically saying, I'm not going to agree to this proposal right now because we need to have a conversation. But you guys are saying that you want a conversation with him. There is no respect for him. Ethiopia is still staying on them principles. I don't know what Egypt and Sudan going through because Sudan has so much going on. I don't know. As it stands, Egypt is pushing for a legally binding agreement. It has publicly thanked the U.S. for stepping in. For what? When y'all know Ethiopia, I feel like y'all should do it like back then. I don't know what y'all African leaders doing. Gifts, gifts. Hello. Come with gifts, peace, offering. Have a sit down. Come with respect. Have some gifts when you walk in the door. What are you doing? Y'all know this. We have this from our country. We would love to get to you. Let's talk. Y'all been doing this without interference. Why interference now? The U.S. is not a great ally right now. It's not. Y'all need to be mindful with this mediation with this man for certain reason. I'm gonna try to get my Kit going or see if I can do more on it on Kit because I know YouTube you can't. And they really trying to shut people up with information. But I just want y'all to pay attention to the whole dynamic and what people say. That's why I post stuff in some of my other videos to get an understanding to why I feel like they should sit down with this man for a reason unbeknown. And to tell the truth, I agree. They should not. Seeking a deal that protects the rights and safety of all the countries involved, Ethiopia, however, maintains that the dam is sovereign African project that is whole to be resolved through African lead processes and not internal powers. I agree. It has not yet issued an official response to the later U.S. offer. I don't think they should take it. I don't think they should take it. I don't think they should take it. I don't think they should have a conversation. Right now, the U.S. is in turmoil. There is a lot of people going through some things, and I don't think they should. I really don't. I'm gonna play a little bit about Lumumba, and then we're gonna move on to New Cross, the New Cross fire. Hold on. Hey, because I really don't think they should agree with the U.S. right.
Patrice Lumumba. Did you know that Patrice Lumumba was Prime Minister of the Congo for only 10 weeks? Let's get into his story. Lumumba was the leader of the Congolese national movement from 1958 until his assassination in 1961. Ideologically an African nationalist and Pan Africanist, he played a significant role in the transformation of the Congo from a Belgian colony into an independent republic. Shortly after Congolese independence in June 1960, a mutiny broke out in the army, marking the beginning of the Congo crisis. After a coup, Lumumba attempted to escape to Stanleyville to join his supporters who had established an anti-Mobutu state called the Free Republic of the Congo. Lumumba was captured en route by state authorities under Joseph Mobutu, sent to the state of Katanga, and with the help of Belgian mercenaries, was tortured and executed by the separatist Katangan authorities of Moise Tshombe.
I'm gonna have to pause, but you know what I was thinking, and we're gonna get into tomorrow with Jim Crow and how all that ended. For this man to come, and this is why people are so pissed. And they're not mad to strike, they're mad because of how you're not acknowledging blacks, Americans who, like I said before, you weren't a strange fruit and they had a picnic around you, taking pictures, smiling. And it's like when you hear what they did to him, it was the same thing that they did over here. Crazy. And you went into all black country and did this.
Bombay. In 2002, Belgium formally apologized for its role in the execution, admitting moral responsibility, and in 2022 returned Lumumba's tooth
Yes.
to his family. He is seen as a martyr for the Pan-African movement. Now, I want to show you the tooth that was returned to Lumumba's family. This is the tooth that was returned to the family. Patrice Lumumba's tooth. This is what was returned to him. This is the only part of his body that was returned to the family. This is Mobutu. He's the one who arrested our brother Patrice Lumumba and thus ordered the execution. I know there were Belgians involved, but this is the African who said that he would be okay with that, Mobutu. Let's see what he looked like as an older man. This is him.
Mm-hmm.
This is the face of one of the devils who sanctioned the murder of one of our upright men, our their leaders, Patrice Lumumba. Peace.
All right. So that is that on that one. I'm gonna do tomorrow the story of a woman whose grandfather was an emperor in Ethiopia, and how one of his people unalived him. He was old, he was an old man by that time, unalived him and had the whole crisis in Ethiopia. We're going to talk about it. And when I listened to the time he was born, I going to go down because I believe he was Queen Sheba, one of her generations. I believe they are actually their people, because they said that Queen Sheba kids went on to reign for years. And then when I listen to it, I say, well, is that one of hers that reigned for years and years? Her family reigned for years in Ethiopia until a certain time. So I'm going to do some research on that because I feel like there's some correlation to that. I believe that. Okay, so we're going to talk about the New Cross. New Cross happened in 1981 in um, England and the UK. And it is the anniversary for it. Where's my blacklist? Let me go to my thing. And let me go to my messages. Here we go. So today is the 40. Excuse me, y'all. God dang, 45. God dang, 80s babies, we getting up there, ain't we? Um, today marks the 45th anniversary of the New Crossfire, in which 13 young black people, ages 14 to 22, were unalived. Tragically, one survivor took his own life 2 years after the fire. The tragedy was racially motivated, yet no one has ever been charged in connection with it. A birthday party in New Cross, Southeast London, turned into a nightmare when a fire tore through the house in the early hours of the morning. 13 young black people, ages 14 to 22, lost their lives, including Patricia Johnson and Glenn Powell, they were 15. Patrick Cummins was 15. Yvonne Ruddick was 16. Lillian Henry was 16. Gary Francis was 17. Steve Collins was 17. Andrew Gooding, 18. Peter Campbell, 18. Humphrey Brown, 18. Lloyd Hall, 20. And Paul Ruddick, 22. Many in the community believe the fire was a racist attack after witnesses reported seeing an object thrown into the building. Yet the police initially treated it as an accident. The lack of urgency, empathy, and accountability that followed deepened the pain felt by grieving families in the wider black community. 2 years later, survivor Anthony Burbick took his own life. More than 4 decades, no one has ever been charged, and the New Crossfire remains a symbol of injustice and a turning point in the Black British history. I remember hearing that Black Britons can't talk about, I don't know if it's true, but they can't talk about racial things for some reason. And I'm finna play something that this lady said. I'm just have to go to my other live a little late, but let me
give the world an insight into who is Merville.
Yes, we're gathered today to remember the 13 innocent young people whose lives were so brutally and tragically snatched away from us. But we must not forget the 14th young victim who took his own life because of the grief and trauma of the event. There were young people who had their whole lives ahead of them, who cruelly didn't get the chance to make a difference to society, to have their own children and fulfill their dreams and ambitions. I gave birth to my son in 1981, and I feel blessed to still have him in my life. So I can't imagine the sense of loss and grief those parents feel losing their children in such a devastating way at such a young age. These families have never received the justice they so clearly and desperately deserve.
13 dead, nothing said. It's January 18th, 1981, just before 6 a.m., and a house party at 439 New Cross Road, South London, is winding down. Then a fire breaks out in the front room. It travels fast, trapping many inside due to the severity of the blaze. In the immediate aftermath, 13 young people lose their lives and dozens more are injured. 2 years later, Anthony Burbeck, who'd been at the party, also dies, and he's widely believed to have taken his own life as a result of the trauma of the event. He's remembered as the fire's 14th victim. Prior to the fire breaking out, police had already been called to the party that night because of noise complaints. Early on, officers suggested that the fire may have been started out of revenge, perhaps because the music was too loud or because someone wasn't welcome at the party. But it's important to remember that the New Cross fire didn't happen in a vacuum. It took place in a borough that was already shaped by years of far-right violence and racial tension. In a previous video, I talked about another house party just miles away that's attacked, and that occurs 10 years prior to the New Cross fire. And throughout the 1970s, Lewisham was a centre for far-right organising, with groups like the National Front regularly carrying out arson attacks and street violence. Despite this, there was silence from the highest levels of the British state following the New Cross fire. No public acknowledgement from the then Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, and no statement from the Queen. Yet just weeks later, when 45 people were killed in a Dublin nightclub, condolences from the Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, were immediate. The state and national press referred to the incident as the Deptford Fire, but Black Power and left-wing political activists were clear in calling it the New Cross Massacre. Together, they formed the New Cross Massacre Action Committee to raise funds for the bereaved, to send to the testimonies of those who were there, and to investigate the fire in ways the state refused to. The committee also organised the Black People's Day of Action, which took place on March 2nd, 1981, and saw up to 20,000 people marching through London from New Cross to Hyde Park, carrying the victims' names, faces, and dates of birth, and demanding justice. As the march passed Fleet Street, which at the time was home to the British press, journalists reportedly chanted monkey noises at the protesters from their offices above. 2 inquests were held into the New Cross fire in 1981 and in 2004. Both inquests returned open verdicts. 45 years on, no one has ever been charged or arrested in connection with the fire.
Yeah, no one has been charged at all. Um, and it's sad. I didn't even know about this. Who knew? It's sad. But y'all, I'm gonna do tomorrow. My grandfather was an emperor, and I'm gonna do a recap on that with y'all. And I'm gonna keep these coming because I kind of want y'all to get the understanding, kind of look like where Africa is kind of heading right now. It's a little scary. Oh gosh. I guess because when you learn the history, and this is why so many of them, not all, but some, are kind of like, I'm concerned. And a lot of people that don't live in Africa, live in the UK, I'm very concerned. And American people, we like, ooh, I'm concerned. We're concerned. We're concerned. And then we get the, oh, shut up. Oh, you don't know. You're not. We're concerned because I don't think you understand where we are. I'm gonna keep y'all updated. Y'all know anything government, we gonna talk about it tomorrow. Tomorrow is MLK Day. I am gonna talk about, well, I'm gonna have to move the Ethiopian thing probably Tuesday. I'll see what I have tomorrow. But I am talking about how he ended Jim Crow and how he kind of had some help with ending Jim Crow, and how Malcolm X, even though ended Jim Crow, but took it to longevity as well. So whenever I need to look up his birthday, because we're gonna jump into that too with him, and how they both ended something, but we're still in the gray area, and how civil rights started, and we're kind of still in the gray area of, like, now that I look at it, will we go back to that if we wait another 2 years? What is it going to take for this to, like, there's so much in my head. I want to thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I hope you like this live. And I'll see you in the next one. I'm finna go live in like 2 seconds. Bye. Oh, wait. Where's my intro? Hold on. I just end the live. Ain't no intro music.